Hello. We are going to go ahead and dive right into the first folio and start unlocking some of these ciphers that Bacon and Neville left. And it's a brilliant work, and there are so many. I think you can just, the way in which they've constructed it, there's so many different ways in which you could insert a cipher that we could be looking forever. But we have found enough that has unlocked the complete work. And so now we can start to unlock and show what has been found, and enough to present enough evidence to go out and see if these men did what they claim they have done. And so everything's done off of this cipher table, the Elizabethan cipher table, Pythagorean cipher table. And this is how you unlock their ciphers. And they kind of guide you to this, and I'm going to show you this. They want you to understand this. And so in the first folio, on page 143 of Love Labors Lost, if you were to go down at the bottom of the page, in capital letter cipher, you see BA3ON. And of course, 3 being the number 3, the third letter of the alphabet is C. And so you have BACON in a capital letter cipher. And he's wanting you to replace numbers with letters, or vice versa, letters with numbers. But in this case, a number, and replace it with a letter. And he's also telling you, I'm giving you my name in 3 different ways. This is one way. And this is how he's letting you know how to do this, so you can identify the other 2 ways he's giving you his name. And so up at the top of the page, this is 1. And then up at the top of the page, you have number 143. And 14 plus 3 is 17. And 17 is Bacon in Pythagorean cipher. And so he's giving you his name with a number. And then Love's Labor Lost. The L should be capitalized, and it's not. And so the L's become Roman numerals, and they're 50. 50 and 50 is 100, which is Francis in simple cipher. And so he's giving you his name. And then right under this, Bacon with the 3 was at the very bottom of the page. If you go up at the top, when you get the other 2 names, varying in subjects as the eye doeth rule to every varied object in his glance. And so he's letting you know, he's kind of giving you a message. And they'll do this, they'll actually talk to you through the plays, falling on specific lines with numbers. And so this is just one cipher that he's put in here, where he's letting you know what to look for and how to find me. And so we'll go to another one. This is on page 88 of the Comedies of Air. And what's interesting here is once we have these numbers, they use these numbers in all different ways. And so you see 84, 85, 88. And so that should catch your eye. That's what he wants to do. And if you come down, you have Fran Bacon. And in between the Fran and the Bacon is the letters H and O, which in the simple cipher equal 22. He was born January 22nd. He uses the number 22 a lot because, of course, that's his birthday. There it is, Fran Bacon. And then across the page on line 92, which is Bacon in reverse cipher, is my map. And so with these numbers, you're able to find what they want you to find. This is on page 53. If you were to go to the Henry IV, it says, I gave you in the last video, the Bacon cipher, and it said at Windsor. This is 53. At Windsor. 53 being the Rosicrucian number, and there you have the butter and the bacon. And so when you go to 53 at Henry IV, which is where we found the cipher bacon at Windsor, on page 53, you find the cipher with the butter and bacon, crossing it through the I am, unlocking the book. That leads to the King James Bible, where the hidden map is. And so all of these ciphers interlock with each other, and they're all giving us a message. And these are undeniable, all off of numbers. This is the Two Gentlemen of Verona, number 33, page 33, which of course is bacon in simple cipher. It's a big Masonic number. And right over here we have bacon in capital letter cipher. And then it says, "Come, go with us. We'll bring thee to our cruise, and show thee all the treasures we have got, which with ourselves all rest at thy dispose." It's amazing. And so there's just so many different ways that in which you can hide a cipher. This is the Henry IV. The F bacon at Windsor. And the F starts on line 17, which of course is bacon in Pythagorean cipher. This is on the page 49, 46. It skips 3 pages. And then if you go to the one on Windsor we just did, you get the bacon and the butter crossing the page. Which on 53, he gives you the same thing. And call for eggs and butter, through the I am, down to the bacon. On page 53. This page right here is very interesting, and the reason why is because of what's being said. This is actually a message from Francis Bacon to the reader. If you understand what's happening, if you understand what they've done, and you're on to their ciphers, and you're on to the work that they have done, then you will understand this little letter here. If you have actually unlocked the ciphers and unlocked the map, and you have seen the location, then you will definitely understand this letter. And they let you know this because it's on page 100 here. And then you come across, this is the end of King Henry IV. You come across, and you're on page 101. You flip the page, and they don't give you a page number. And then 69. Well, this would be page 102. And 102 minus 69 is 33. And so we have a cipher here. We also have the RC. And so we know we have a cipher here. And it ends up being on this page right here. He wants you to focus on this. Up at the top, the picture that's depicted, that is also in the 1611 King James Bible. These two books collaborate with each other. And so he's telling you, he's giving you a message here. He says, "First my fear, then my curtsy, last my speech. My fear is your displeasure." Because to hide this from the world really is a crime. It's such a beautiful thing, and it truly is a crime to hide this from the world. But they had no choice, being who was in power and no freedoms, and he wanted to build a country that had freedoms, so when this was found, it could be protected. And so it's his fear is our displeasure, my curtsy, my duty, and my speech to beg your pardon. If you look for a good speech now, you undo me. The map is in the 1611, so if you were to create another language, there goes the map. Or if you create another book and somebody else creates a Bible, there goes the map. You undo him if you look for a good speech. For what I have to say is of my own making, and what indeed I should say will I doubt. prove my own marring, but to the purpose, and so to the venture. Be it known to you, as it is very well, I was lately here in the end of a displeasing play. A displeasing play is an unfinished play. And that's what we have out there. You have a stage, and they replicated the resurrection. And that's how they hid it. That's how they hid the sealing of it. And so it's a play that they started, and the people who come onto this and unlock this and find the location and dig it up, they are finishing the play, and he's not there. He's not going to get to see that. And so it's a displeasing play. But what you have out there at that cave is one last William Shakespeare play. And we get to play it out. And it says, to pray your patience for it, and to promise you a better. I did mean indeed to pay you with this, which if, like an ill venture, it come unluckily home, I break, and you, my gentle creditors, lose. And so, yeah, he says he's taking an adventure doing this. And if it's an ill venture and it come unluckily home, if he gets caught, he breaks. All his work for all these years will have been for nothing. And us, the creditors, we lose. He says, here I promised you I would be, and here I commit my body to your mercies. Now, he's saying he promised he would be here, and he's committing his body to our mercies. And when we got there, and when we excavated in that cave, we found human leg bones. He said, beat me some, and I will pay you some, as most debtors do, and promise you infinitely. If my tongue cannot entreat you to acquit me, will you command me to use my legs? Those human leg bones, when I read this for the first time, I just knew what this man did. He spent his whole life doing this. And we're going to see, I believe we have it pinpointed when it started, when they first brought it across seas and put it in this mountain, to when the work was finished. And it's just an amazing work, and he dedicated his life to doing this. And he fulfilled prophecy in doing it. He understood the scriptures. They structured the whole work off of the scriptures. And so the only thing they hid it through ciphers, but they did the work through the scriptures. And so you follow the scriptures, and that's how you're able to understand why they put it where they put it, why they named things the way they named them. Of course, the sealing of it is off of the resurrection. When you go there, just as Mary went to the tomb, there was no body. We get there, there's human leg bones. That makes it a tomb, but the body's missing. And then in the resurrection story, it says that he is to meet them in Galilee, where he will lead them into the mountain. And that's exactly what we have to do. And then in the book of John is how we actually were able to find the stone that marked the entrance 9.5 feet down. It's just an amazing work. And these men did this. Let's see. I'm going to show you one more. And it was found by Peter Amundsen, but it's been looked at, and so we want to look at it because it's just another way that they're telling you what's been done. So it's further back. Hold on just a second. Okay, here it is. And so this is the last play of the book, and we see it's 378, and you come over, and we have 389. And of course, if 9 plus 8 is 17, plus 3 is 20, which is RC, Rosicrucians. And then right under it, being corrupted. So letting you know, yep, we're corrupting the book. We're putting things in there that people don't know. And when you come down, what you have here is a cipher within a 3-4-5 triangle, which is what they use in the 1611 to hide the actual coordinates. And you notice the word rosy. It's only twice in all of Scripture, in all of this book, and both are in this book, in this play. and it says Rosie, and then of course you see the CROSS all in capital letters, making the cross within a 3-4-5 triangle, and you get Rosie Cross. And in the first word, abundancy, and you notice the gap between the A and the P. And that word apud in Latin, you'll notice it on Latin books, it means written by. And so you have written by Rosie Cross. And then below that is the M, which gives you map. The map written by Rosie Cross, the Rosicrucians. Number 20. And this has been verified, it's been looked at, and there's no doubt it's purposefully done. If you look at the that I thought her as Chase should continue on, they purposely drop it down to the next line so that the C will line up with the R, and the S with the O. That's purposefully manufactured that way so they could do that. And so there's just no doubt that you cannot deny that there are ciphers in this book. And these ciphers are telling you that we've hidden a map. And it leads to a treasure. And you are encouraged to look for this map. I'm going to show you how they think they have things figured out, but in reality, we don't. And you can think something was something, but really it's something else. And it goes much further back than you could possibly imagine. And so here we are in the 1611, the dedicatory page. This is where we have our cipher that leads us to the map of the 1611 Bible. Okay. And down here at the bottom, you have these 3 dots in the parentheses. Now those 3 dots represent what's referred to as the 3-point brothers, and they would put those after initials. So each man had 3 initials, your first name, middle name, and last name, and they would put 3 dots after each letter, signifying you're looking for these 3. And then of course in the dedicatory of the first folio, it gives you the directions to read this cipher. Upon the muse's anvil turn the same, and himself with it that he thinks to frame. And so pan becomes map, the shape doesn't change, it's the same, and we are giving liking unto nothing but what is framed. The map, he wanted us to go to the map. These 3 points helped you understand that. Now, they have a paper right here, you can get it right off the internet, and there was a medallion that was found. And you can see the letters, and in between each letter is the 3 dots. And the depiction is 2 men lowering a third into Solomon's temple. They found Solomon's temple, and the 2 are lowering the third one into the temple. And that's what it's portraying. And that's what it's telling you in the letters. Each letter represents a word, and they've actually translated it, and it's referring to Solomon's temple. And so you see these 3 dots. These 3 dots go back a long ways. But they claim that in here, we'll just read it, and it says, interspersing the letters on the medallion on the left are triangles made up of 3 dots. The explanation is that the 3 dots, or the 3 points, were formerly fashionable in Masonic writings instead of the usual periods after initials. These non-recognized Grand Orient of France apparently started the practice in France in 1774. Well, that can't be, because I'm looking at them using them right here. And so, you know, just because somebody says something started at a certain time doesn't make it so. Just because everybody said William Shakespeare wrote those plays, don't make it so. And so, they were the original 3-point brothers. And as it says right here, it says the usage became popular in the U.S. and is seen today appearing in some Scottish Rite documents. Any significance of these little trinities had 200 years ago is now long lost. And so we can trace them back to 1611 because they were used. Now, think of the work that they're proclaiming that they have done. Those are right here. The principal mover and author of the work. And look at what they've done. Look at what they're proclaiming to have done. You have two men. You have a missing keystone. It's off here to the side. That is the missing piece. If you could ever find the keystone, you have found their work. And they are lowering the Ark of the Covenant under the keystone. 9.5 feet. How do you get there? You dig. And you will come into his temple. And they didn't know where it was. That was hidden to them. But they very much understand what they're looking for. And they're portraying that here because they were told. We just have to believe them. This one here. The keystone in a mountainside. You got the door under it. Come down. You have this door with the letter G. Just like we do. Our door is 9.5 feet under the keystone. You have the ark. They brought the ark over. The Ark of the Covenant they brought overseas. They're promising it to you. This is New Jerusalem. This is Zechariah 2. Zechariah has a vision, and this angel has a measuring reed in his hand. And he's measuring the length and the breadth of Jerusalem. And he goes to a man and he tells that man to run and to tell the inhabitants that Jerusalem shall be inhabited as towns without walls due to the multitude of people and cattle therein. Jerusalem is not what we say it is. It's what the Father says it is. And he told us in Scripture he was going to move it. He was going to move it. And we can actually see that play out right here. If you were just grab a map, a global map. In Zechariah 14, it says at the end of time, at the end of days, Yahushua is going to stand on the Mount of Olives, which is in Jerusalem, and he is going to cleave to the east. And then he's going to look west. And lo, a very great valley. And there you have the Appalachian and the Rocky Mountains. And that is the biggest valley in the world. Is that a very great valley that he's talking about when he looks west? Absolutely. And then it says in this there will be a mountain range that splits north and south. That's the Ozark Mountains. That's why they put it there. They used Scripture as to the location, all of it. And if you match up Mount Nebo, which is where it was originally placed, it matches here. Right over here. Land of Goshen. We have a land of Goshen right next to Asher. It's 13 miles away. It even matches when you twist the map. It lines up. Asher, Goshen, land of Goshen. We twist the map because south's in the wrong position. And what does Goshen mean in Hebrew? Drawing near. And we have a Mount Nebo. Arkansas is filled with biblical names. It's a very special state because there's a very special creator of the universe sitting here. It's been sitting in the middle of the United States since 1600. I believe they sealed this up in the year 1600. And for 420 years, he's been here, blessing the land while we pollute it, just like they did in Jerusalem. Nothing has changed. What was will be. What was done will be done. And there is nothing new under the sun. And if this is the case, in 1590, you had the Hopewell and the Chancewell finished and sealed in the year 1600. There was only 2 passengers per ship. That's very strange. Normally it's 20 to 30 passengers to run a ship that size. They could, not to say that you couldn't do it with 2, but to take that chance, I mean, that truly is hoping and chancing. And then in the year 1609, you have the sonnets published. The first ciphers going to Henry IV. 1611, we got the King James Bible being created and the map hidden inside. And then 1615, Shakespeare and Neville are dead. The Rosicrucians publish a book explaining RC and Rosicrucianism. Kind of join us, you know. And then in 1623, the first folio was published, and Bacon, it said, dies in this year. And if you take that from 1590 to 1623, that's 33 years worth of work. There's that Masonic number. And they did this. Exactly how they did it, we don't know. We're trying to figure that out. But they did this. And you don't start here and go through all this trouble creating all these books and all these ciphers unless you've already put the work in there. And, you know, why even create all this? We're going to get into that in the next video. Why he did it. Why create William Shakespeare. Why put a map inside the 1611? Why do it this way? And so it's an amazing work. There is no denying these men put ciphers in these books. They have hit a map in this book. It leads to a specific location. This is the aerial view map, and they tell you it's Jerusalem. And then right under it, cave. This is an aerial view map of our location. And there is a treasure inside that mountain. These men are claiming that they put a treasure inside that mountain. It's up to us to go out there and see. And we've already been out there, and there's physical evidence. All the physical evidence that you would expect to be there is there. You have a keystone, you have the letter G, you have an all-seeing eye carved into a stone, you have leg bones, you have a shovel, you have a map, you have ciphers, you have everything you need. And so let's start shouting it out. Share this to everybody. Watch all the videos. Put all the evidence together. And you will see there is so much evidence that these men are saying they did this. To not go out there is to choose darkness over light. Every day that these videos have been put out and the actual location of the Ark of the Covenant, these men's work have been exposed, and the Ark of the Covenant is now out, and all the world can know it and know exactly where it is. Every day that goes by that we don't go out there and get him up is another day that we chose darkness over light. Let's not do that. Have faith. What is faith? The confidence of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. There's enough evidence here. Let's go look. Probe the ground. 9.5 feet, there's a tunnel. I love you guys. In Yahushua's name, Amen.